now, let's go through, as the team is currently constructed, who do you think is in best position to win the NFC East? You have the teams there on the board. It's hashtag NFC East Best, and Twitter is always open, but our voting is open right now. Let's go right down the line. Darren, right now, as you see it, as the votes begin to come in, who do you think is most well prepared for the season?
I hate to say it, but I'm going to say the Philadelphia Eagles right now. And I
that
understand
hurts you.
What's happening with the Washington Redskins. They are upgrading personnel-wise, but when you look at what Chip Kelly's done last year and the culture change that's gone through the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Foles, great season last year. They're going to continue to build. Yes, they will miss Deshaun Jackson, but they still have weapons to fill that void.
I agree with you that it's the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, you look at the New York Giants, I think you see holes on that roster that you haven't seen in recent years. Look at the Dallas Cowboys losing two of their best defensive players. And I think you look at, you know, and I agree in terms of the additions in Washington make them better, but Philadelphia with a quarterback that played lights out a year ago.
Two interceptions, 27.
Jeremy Maclin coming back into the mix. I don't think he's a one-for-one replacement of Deshaun in terms of production, but I think he's a very capable receiver. To me, Darren Sproles is that, yes, he is, because he's so versatile. So I think Philadelphia is in a really nice spot.
Drew Brees said Darren Sproles once-in-a-lifetime player, and he got to play with him on two different teams.
Wow. Yeah, what about you? You know what? A trifecta. I'm going to have to agree with these gentlemen because you look at the team, I think, both sides of it. I know the defense struggled quite a bit as far as giving up some points and some yards, but having another year to be up under that system, having guys coming back in to understand how they're going to do things, I think they'll be able to hold up a lot better. But on the offensive side of the ball, another year in Chip Kelly's system for these gentlemen to truly understand where they need to be, the mismatches that Nick Foles know is going to be there pre-snap now. These are the type of things that I'm talking about, this team having success. They need to fix some things, obviously, but I think out of all the teams, they have the least to fix.
And Foles wasn't even a starter a year ago.
No, he wasn't supposed to be the guy. Right. So, again, the polls are still open. Hashtag NFC East Best as we continue the live Twitter vote here on NFL Live. You guys all think that the Eagles have done the best. Is there a team you think that is lagging behind, Darren?
Well, anytime you lose DeMarcus Ware, Jason Hatcher, lose
that's your pass rush.
Your pass rush up front. I think the Dallas Cowboys right now are a team. And I think the Dallas Cowboys are trying to get back there. I think Jerry's made some decisions that he's had to make for the salary cap issues. But right now, talent-wise, personnel-wise, defensively, I think they're the team that's going to struggle.
And by the way, just to piggyback on the Cowboys, well, how about the fact that their quarterback is coming off of back surgery and isn't healthy?
Second straight year
and
he's had to deal with a back
I think when you look at that, that's as important as anything, you know, when you look at, you know, that type of rebound. And then the Giants, you know, under Tom Coughlin, the Giants seem like a team that were destined to have double-digit wins. You know, I mean, they've been so consistent with him. But just the fall off of the aging offensive line, Eli's play hasn't been the same. There's been changes at wide receiver. Now that defensive line that was once feared and it was a NASCAR package and all of that, now you look at that defensive line, and with the way Jason Pierre-Paul has played off of his back surgery, they're a shell of themselves in that group of that front four for the New York Giants.
Yeah, we talked obviously about those two. With the Washington Redskins, I think that they're the closest as far as having a chance to really give the Eagles and having that go towards the last part of the season, like it always does in the NFC East. Nobody really outright wins it.
No,
but I think that this is a team, absolutely, this is a team that has done some great things this offseason, obviously having Deshaun Jackson fall into their lap, and if he can handle his business off the football field, change some of the things in his character as far as some of the things that may be there, this has a potential to have that team to explode on the offensive side of the ball. On defense, I don't know.
Well, they re-signed Arakpo, so you do have Kerrigan and Arakpo coming in on either side. D'Angelo Hall is back. You know, I don't know what's going to happen with London Fletcher and what's going on there. He's played so well for so long. But going back to the Giants here for a second. Look, they didn't do a lot of splash signings, okay? They didn't make the big name, but they pick up Rashad Jennings
right,
from the Oakland Raiders. They have basically completely revamped that offensive line. They've done a lot of little things that might, in the long run, pay big dividends for this team because they realized they had to address that up-front issue with Eli Manning because a lot of those interceptions were because he was like this trying to get rid of the ball before he got hammered.
And the other thing they addressed is the secondary.
Yeah.
I mean, and so look, I'm not saying that they haven't improved, but when you have to make that many changes in offseason, you're hoping that a bunch of different things come together. And let's not forget, this will be the first time that Eli has played in a new system. He's been in the same system.
Kevin
It was
Gilbride.
John Huffnagel and Kevin Gilbride. It was the same system. It was a system that Tom Coughlin essentially was familiar with as well from his time in Jacksonville, and it evolved and met up in New York. Well, now it's a completely different system, going to look more like a West Coast offense, and it'll be interesting to see how he plays in that system.
Yeah, and I think he was pressing a lot last year. I really do. I think he was trying to do too many things. For him and his veteran receivers not to be on the same page as much as they weren't last year, that told me that he was trying to do things. He was hoping that they were seeing the exact same thing and throwing, like you said, off of that back foot so many times. And as a defender going against Eli, I want him throwing obviously off that back foot instead of stepping
And
into
what
it.
is their identity? I think that's the biggest thing. The Giants, you
question.
always knew when you played the New York Giants,
Strong defense, pound the rock.
strong defense, pound the rock, and you knew you were going to be in for a dogfight. That's not the same team. And let me say something else. We have a homer on the field with this green tie here. Did we not
This
know
is
he
not
was going to
green.
say the Philadelphia Eagles?
I thought he was
That's
going to
green.
crawl out of the
That's
tunnel.
lime. That is green.
This
That's
is
lime
lime
green.
green.
It is green.
This is
Doc.
not money
You're
green.
colorblind.
This is lime.
It's Philadelphia Eagle green.
But more importantly, for all this movement that we've talked about, and this guy was signed, this guy was released, is maybe the most important thing in this entire dynamic the fact that RG3 comes back healthy, right? Might that be the most
Part of it.
important thing when it's all
Right.
said and done?
And also
All right,
playing with the-
so we've covered this as well as we can cover it. So let's go to the tote board, as they say in the telethons. And in a
Go ahead, Doug. Go ahead.
move with
Crawl out.
34%, courtesy of Brian Dawkins'
that's close.
Eagles tie,
That's a lot closer.
we will give the Eagles at right now, even with the loss of Deshaun Jackson, wow, as the team right now that you think is best prepared to defend that title now in the NFC East. We will see what happens there. Now, as we move